Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. In this module, we shall be studying about the various types of remote sensing and GIS softwares available for spatial data analysis. So far, you all know what is remote sensing, what is the principle behind remote sensing, visual image interpretation as well as digital image data processing, and you also know what is GIS, the elements of GIS and map projection. So in this module we shall study about the various types of remote sensing and GIS softwares available. These softwares, they work specifically on georeferenced and spatial data and are basically of two types, open source as well as commercial. So let us begin with these softwares. So students, coming to the beginning of our module, GIS and remote sensing software is designed to store, retrieve, manage, display and analyze all types of geographic and spatial data that has been obtained from satellite and airborne sensor data. We have already studied about the aerial photography that helps us in acquiring airborne sensor data. It produces maps and graphic display of geographic information for analysis and presentation. Now coming to what are the types of these GIS and remote sensing softwares. Basically there are two broad categories for software, open source and commercial software. Open source software can be accessed, used or modified by their user groups and developers. An example of this is Quantum GIS. These open source projects typically are worked on by a community of volunteer programmers all over the world. These software are based on different programming languages. According to these programming languages, there are three main groups of open source GIS software that include C, Java and .NET languages. The next category is commercial software, which is designed and developed for licensing and sale to end user or serve a commercial purpose. One of the main examples of this is ArcGIS software, that is the most widely used GIS software developed by ESRI USA. Now we'll discuss these open source softwares one by one in detail. The first software in this category that we'll be talking about is Geographic Resources Analysis Support System, that is popularly known as GRAS. It's a free and open source software that was originally developed by the US Army Corps of Engineers. It is used for image processing, graphics and map production, spatial modeling and visualization. It is used in academic as well as by many governmental agencies and environmental consulting companies. The latest version of GRAS GIS is 7.2. The new features for this software in the latest version include topological, two-dimensional and three-dimensional vector engine and support for vector network analysis. This figure shows one of the windows for GRAS software. The next software is Quantum GIS, which is a free and open source GIS software that supports viewing, editing and analysis of geospatial data. It provides a very nice integration with Python, that is a scripting language to customize and automate GIS functions. Its latest version is QGIS 2.18.10, which was released in June 2017. Another software that we are discussing here is Integrated Land and Water Information System. This is popularly called as ILWIS software, which is a GIS as well as remote sensing software, implying it has functionalities of both remote sensing and GIS, and it was initially developed and distributed by ITC Netherlands for both vector and raster processing. It is used for digitizing, editing, analysis and display of data and production of quality maps. Its latest version is ILWIS 3.8.5. Another software that is open source as well as free is Capaware, which is a 3D GIS software that was developed by the University of Las Palmas and Canary Islands Technological Institute, Spain in 2007. It has 3D GIS framework which is based on C++ programming language with multiple plugin architecture for geographic, graphical analysis and visualization. Another software is PolSAR Pro, which is an open source software developed by European Space Agency, popularly called as ESA, for polarimetric synthetic aperture radar data, that is popularly called as SAR data, its processing and education. The software handles dual polarization and full polarization data from a wide range of SAR space and airborne missions. This software contains tools for data import, data conversion, basis change, speckle filters, data processing, calibration, data simulation, and interfaces with NEST. The latest version of this software is 5.1. Another open source software that we are discussing here is uDig. It is a GIS software produced by a Canadian based consulting company, Refractions Research. It is based on the Eclipse platform and features full layered open source GIS. The latest version of this software is 2.0.0 RC1. Another commonly used software is GIS, which is an open source GIS software in the Java programming language. This is developed and maintained by a group of volunteers from around the globe. Its latest version is 1.11, released in April 2017. Another GIS desktop application is gvSIG, which is an open source GIS software designed by the gvSIG Association in 2004. It is known for having a user-friendly interface, being able to access the most common formats, being both vector and raster. The latest version of this software is 2.3.1, released in October 2016. DIVA-GIS is a free open source software for mapping and geographic data analysis. It is particularly useful for mapping and analyzing the data related to biodiversity, such as the distribution of species and how to find out areas that have high, low, or complementary level of diversity. It is based on Windows operating system. Another software is System for Automated Geoscientific Analysis, popularly known as SAGA. It is System for Automated Geoscientific Analysis and is a hybrid GIS software which was developed by Department of Physical Geography, University of Göttingen, Germany in 2005. It is used to edit the spatial data. Its functions are organized as modules in frameworks, independent modules library, and can be accessed via SAGA's graphical user interface. It's a portable software that can run without installation even from memory sticks. It has a unique application programming interface, that is API, and a fast growing set of geoscientific methods. Another open source software that we are discussing here is Opticks, which is a remote sensing software developed by Ball Aerospace and Technology Corp in 2001. It supports multispectral and hyperspectral imagery as well as synthetic aperture radars data. Besides, it also supports videos pertaining to remote sensing data, which can differentiate it from other remote sensing applications that are currently available. Another software that we are discussing here is Terra View, which is a remote sensing software distributed by Editions de la Boer since 1993. It handles vector and raster data stored in a relational or georelational database. It supports vector operations including intersection and buffer maps. It has statistical analysis functions such as local and global autocorrelation indices, semi-variograms, and regionalization. Another open source knowledge based software is TNTmips, which is used for automatic image interpretation. It is a framework that may at any time be extended by the addition of new operators that perform specific tasks. It provides the user with some basic functionalities such as extraction of objects in images and calculation of spectral, geometric, topological, and textural features. Its latest version is 1.43. Whitebox GAT is another software which is open source and cross platform GIS as well as remote sensing software developed by John Lindsay in 2009 and distributed under the GNU General Public License. It is intended for advanced geospatial analysis and data visualization in research and education setting. Its latest version is 3.2.1. Another software is Orbis GIS, which is a cross-platform open source GIS software created for research. It is led by CNRS within the French laboratory and licensed under GPLv3. It proposes techniques to model, represent, process, and share spatial data, making it easy to monitor geographical territories and manage their evolution. Its latest version is 4.0.2. Another open source GIS based software is Kalypso, that is based on Java programming language and focuses mainly on numerical simulations in water management. One more software is FalconView, which is a mapping system created by the Georgia Technical Research Institute for the Windows family of operating systems. It's a free open source version of the software. MapInfo GIS is another open source based application that can be extended through plugins. Its application is built using Microsoft's .NET and is based on Windows platform. Geomajas is another open source GIS software which integrates a powerful server into the web browser. It provides a platform for server-side integration of geospatial data through GeoTool. Geomajas 1.14 is the latest version of this software. Similarly, we have another software, GeoDa, which is also a free and open source GIS software package that conducts spatial data analysis, geovisualization, spatial autocorrelation, and spatial modeling. It has been developed by Regional Analysis Laboratory. Its latest version is 1.10, which has powerful capabilities to perform spatial analysis, multivariate exploratory data analysis, and global and local spatial autocorrelation. CARTO is another open source software built on PostGIS and PostgreSQL. What are these PostGIS and PostgreSQL? That we shall be seeing in the subsequent slides. This software was first released in beta at FOSS4G in Denver in September 2011 and officially debuted as a final release 2.0 in April 2012. Generic Mapping Tools, popularly known as GMT, is an open source application of software tools for processing and displaying XY and XYZ datasets, including rasterization, filtering, and various kinds of map projections. GMT was developed by Paul Wessel and Walter H.F. Smith in 1988 and supported by US NSF since 1993. Its latest version is 5.3.1. OSSIM is another open source software that stands for Open Source Security Information Management. It was developed by Alien Vault in 2003. It integrates a selection of tools designed to aid network administrators in computer security, intrusion detection, and prevention. Its latest version of 5.3.0 was released in August 2016. After discussing these open source softwares, we shall be discussing some of the commonly available and popular commercial softwares. So the first software that we shall be discussing among commercial softwares is ArcGIS, which is the most popular and widely used software for spatial data analysis. It is a proprietary commercial software for working with maps and geographic information. It was initially released on 27 December 1999 by Environmental Systems Research Institute, popularly called as ESRI in USA. Its latest version is ArcGIS 10.5, which was released in December 2016. Another popular software is ERDAS Imagine software, which is a commercial remote sensing application software with raster graphics editor. It was designed by Hexagon Geospatial in 1978 for geospatial applications. The aim of this software is mainly at geospatial raster data processing and preparing, displaying and enhancing digital images for mapping used in GIS and CAD software. The latest version of this software is ERDAS Imagine 2015. Another commonly used remote sensing software is Environment for Visualizing Images, popularly called as ENVI software. It is a software application developed by ESRI India used to process and analyze geospatial imagery. It is commonly used by remote sensing scientists and image analysts. Its latest version is ENVI 5.6. The linear feature extractor in this software automatically digitizes everything between the seed points, faithfully following curves, jumping gaps, and snapping vectors. This software is also very popular for handling the hyperspectral data. Another software is IDRISI, which is an integrated GIS and remote sensing software developed by Professor J. Ronald Eastman in Clark Labs at Clark University in 1987. It is a Windows-based system that offers tools for researchers engaged in analyzing Earth system dynamics for effective environmental management and sustainable resource development. Its latest version is 18.07, released in April 2015. It's an extensive vector-based data input and output through CARTO links is provided by this software. Maptitude is another commercial GIS software that has the richest feature set and highest performance of any mapping software. Its latest version is 5.0. It has an address matching feature that is suited for readily available datasets. Another common software is MapInfo, which is a GIS software produced by Pitney Bowes Software, formerly called as MapInfo Corporation in 1986. It is used for mapping and location analysis. Its latest version is 15.2. Another software is AutoCAD Map, which has a diverse range of functionalities and is a 3D model based GIS mapping software that was developed by Autodesk in December 1982. This software provides access to CAD and GIS data to support planning, design, and management. Its latest version is 22.0 that was released in March 2017. Another software that is very popular is Geomatica, which is an integrated software for remote sensing and image processing. It offers a single integrated work environment for data extraction, visualization, and analysis from remotely sensed images. It can be used for both optical and synthetic aperture radars data processing. The latest version of this software is Geomatica 2017. Global Mapper is another affordable and easy to use GIS application software that offers access to an unparalleled variety of spatial datasets. It provides the right level of functionality for both experienced GIS professionals as well as the beginning users of GIS. Its latest version is Global Mapper 18.2. GeoTime is a geospatial analysis commercial software developed by Uncharted Software Inc. on 18th May 2005. It allows the visual analysis of events over time. It has been used by professionals in public safety, including metropolitan police, emergency management, telecommunications, academic research, healthcare, and human services. Its latest version is 5.7 that was released in May 2016. Another GIS software package is Manifold System that is developed by Manifold Software Limited in 1993 and runs on Windows operating system. It handles both vector and raster data. includes spatial SQL, a built-in internet map server, and other general GIS features. Its latest version is 8.0.30, which was released in March 2017. Another software that you can see in the figure is AGIS, which can be used for plotting geographic data on the map of the world, provided without the high cost and the steep learning curve that is involved in learning any software. It can create high spatial resolution maps which can be easily pasted into Microsoft Office. Apart from this, animation, web serving, distance measuring, searching, GPS, and integration with other systems such as databases are also supported by this AGIS software. Another software that we are discussing here is MicroDem, which is a powerful application that allows to work with maps and satellite images in order to view their content and merge the maps. It analyzes multiple map files and databases in a straightforward interface. Its latest version is 12.1. 2D3 is an American motion imagery software that is used to extract information from images or videos by recreating, manipulating, and enhancing imagery to visualize two-dimensional data into three dimensions. Another common software is TNTmips, which is a geospatial analysis software developed by Microimages in 1986. It provides a fully featured GIS, relational database management system called as RDBMS, and automated image processing system with CAD, then surface modeling, map layout, and innovative data publishing tools. eSpatial is another GIS software that is fast, easy, and very powerful in its functionalities. It can easily upload, visualize, and analyze multiple layers of data and cloud-based mapping. Another software is Spring, which is a GIS and remote sensing image processing system with an object-oriented data model that was developed by Pivotal Software in 2002. It provides for the integration of raster and vector data representations in a single environment. The latest version is 4.3.9 that was released in June 2017. And the software is GeoMedia, which is a GIS software for working and conducting analysis on geographic information as well as producing maps from those analysis. It is used for creating geographic data, managing geospatial databases, joining business data, location, intelligence, and geographic data together. Conduct analysis in the real-time based platform for multiple applications and analyzing mapped information. It supports many data types and extensive analysis toolset. It also incorporates industry standard relational databases in its functionalities. Map Business Online is another web-based business mapping software that's used by a large variety of businessmen to organize and analyze their business data geographically. It can be used by any large or small business to create custom maps of sales territories, business workflows, and business expansions. So after these commercial softwares, we have some WebMap Server that includes Mapnik, which is based on C++ and Python library for rendering and is used by OpenStreetMap. GeoServer is another example. MapGuide open source is a web-based mapping server, and we also have Map Server, which is a web-based mapping server developed by the University of Minnesota. The next one is Spatial Database Management System, which includes PostGIS, which is a spatial extension for the open source PostgreSQL database allowing geospatial queries. TerraLib is another spatial database management system and also provides advanced functions for the GIS analysis. SpatialLite, its spatial extensions for the open source SQLite database allowing geospatial queries. So now after studying about these various remote sensing and GIS softwares, it becomes essential to understand as to what are the functionalities of these softwares. So these remote sensing and GIS softwares, they have a wide range of functionalities that can vary from crime mapping, road networking, which is a part of urban planning, besides hydrology and other applications in environmental sciences. For example, if we see this crime mapping, it in crime mapping our GIS softwares are being effectively used by the Delhi police for mapping the crime patterns occurring in the national capital of Delhi. Road networking is effectively utilized by various companies and organizations in India. For hydrological studies, remote sensing and GIS has proven to be very effective for watershed management as well as for planning activities. The wastewater and stormwater systems is another aspect of urban planning, as to where in GIS we can plot what are the sources of wastewater and how is it distributed over the entire urban area. This is also a part of the waste management system in any urban or, for that matter, any rural area as well. Change detection is an application of remote sensing software where one can analyze what are the changes that have occurred over a region by using spatial satellite data or airborne data and temporal data sets. That means you have images of two or more time periods, and by subtracting them with each other in the software, one can find out the changes that have occurred over a region. This change detection technique is very useful for mapping the rate of deforestation in any forest, as well as for studying the urban sprawl that has occurred in a region. Another application includes orthorectification or spectral analysis, that is an aspect of photogrammetry. These remote sensing and GIS softwares are also used for wetland management, where one can even analyze the area that has been occupied by the wetland, the changes the wetland might have undergone due to natural or anthropogenic reasons, besides wasteland mapping and land degradation. Land degradation and wasteland mapping may or may not be related to each other, and it helps us in knowing as to how the wastelands have been generated due to natural as well as human induced factors, how the land is being degraded as a result of wasteland generation, and mapping these wastelands using satellite data. So, dear students, to conclude, I would like to say that in this module we have studied about the various types of remote sensing and GIS softwares that are commonly used in the field of geospatial domain. We have also studied what are these types of softwares, like they have two broad categories: open source software and commercial softwares. Open source softwares can be accessed and modified by users and volunteers from around the world, while the commercial softwares, they have license for end user practice. Okay, we have also studied various examples of both these types of categories and have learned how these softwares are used for analyzing or storing or displaying the spatial data as well as geographical data that has been georeferenced with respect to the earth. Okay, and we have also studied briefly what are the applications of these remote sensing and GIS softwares. These applications shall be discussed in detail in the coming modules. So I hope you all have benefited from this module based on remote sensing and GIS softwares. Thank you.